Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to Press for Truth TV. Today is Friday, March the 23rd, 2012, and I can barely believe that we're already almost 3 months into the year. Time has just been flying by for me, anyways. It's hard to believe that April is right around the corner, and we got a lot of things coming up in April. First of all, Richard Gage, the founder of Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, is currently on a cross-Canada speaking engagement. He's on tour, and he will be here in Toronto on April 3rd. The venue is yet to be announced, but as soon as I get that info, I will let you guys know in case you wanted to come down and check it out. I'll be there. The other guys from Press for Truth, Stephen Davies and Brian Law, if they are available, will be there as well. And we'll be there to document the event and, of course, to promote our upcoming DVD, which is also set to come out in April. April 9th, we are going to be releasing our newest DVD, the International Hearings into 9/11, Uncovering 10 Years of Deception. And of course, that entire DVD will be available to download for you, the Press for Truth TV subscribers, in the high quality download section. So you can go there when it comes out to download it. Or, of course, if you want to actually purchase the physical DVD to have it in your collection, you can certainly do that as well. The link is available at pressfortruth.ca. There's a banner at the top of the page here that you can click on if you'd like to purchase that DVD. So a lot of good things coming up next month in April, and of course, as the weather continues to get nicer, we are looking forward to getting out there in the streets and doing more of what we do best, which is make videos. So speaking of getting out there, there is currently right now, in case you haven't heard, I thought maybe I'd mention this today because, as we know, the lamestream media is failing to do their job these days, and so that's where we come in to give you guys the information that matters to Canadians. And there is a absolutely huge protest going on right now in Montreal. Yesterday, there are reports that nearly 250,000 people took to the streets to protest the rising tuition fees. I've seen conflicting reports. Most people are saying about 200,000 people. Few people have reported nearly 250,000. So anywhere from 200 to 250,000 students took to the streets yesterday, and it's continuing on to today to raise awareness about the problems that they're having with the rising tuition fees. Obviously, it's no big secret that kids these days are coming out of the school completely up to their neck in debt. It's more and more looking like a debt trap, an indoctrinating system, and a debt trap, rather than an education system. What it's supposed to be is developing the youngest and brightest minds to go on out there and be the leaders in society. That is slowly changing, and it's turning more into an indoctrination system and a complete debt trap. And this is certainly a common trend we're seeing all over the world, and certainly the last decade at least. Some of you may remember that I think it was just last year, there was that really big protest in London, England, very similar, where thousands and thousands of students took to the streets to protest the hike in tuition fees. The only difference is, though, what happened in London is there ended up being a huge clash with the police. Things got violent, things got out of control. A lot of the protesters were kind of ramming the police with their barricades, throwing things at the police, and there was just a huge clash and a complete clampdown on the movement and on the message. And I'm happy and proud to report that we're not seeing that here in Canada. And I think it's important for people to understand that anytime you are demonstrating in large numbers like this, getting out into the streets because you want your voice to be heard, you want the government to take notice, any kind of violence will completely delegitimize your message. And there's no doubt the authorities understand that. They know this. And they will often try to provoke people into making the first move, throwing the first rock, or doing something that will provide the excuse for the police to clamp down on the protesters and completely silence their message. So it's important that we remember that violence in that manner only benefits the very system that you were trying to rise up and fight against. So I'm glad to see that we're not seeing any of that in Montreal. People are remaining calm and cool, and I certainly wish I could get down there. I wish I could have been there yesterday or today to make a trip down to Montreal to cover the event. But maybe sometime in the future I'll be able to do more trips like that and get out on the grounds and report on these kinds of stories as they're happening, where they're happening, because it's of utmost importance these days. Because we're seeing such an acceleration lately in this new world order agenda. Not only the complete invasion of Africa, many countries within that continent under AFRICOM, the International Criminal Court, and the United Nations. These things are accelerating all over the world. And recently in France, President Sarkozy is all over the news, mainly because of an incident that happened recently with a lone madman gunman who went on a shooting rampage and ended up tragically killing 7 people. And reports are coming out already trying to link this guy to Islamic extremism and trying to say that he was with Al Qaeda. But the thing is, we see this time and time and time again with these lone nut crazy gunmen, where after the fact, the leader, like Sarkozy, will grandstand and sit there and pose as the savior of the situation. But what ends up happening is they will introduce insanely draconian laws to deal with the recent tragedy. For instance, Sarkozy has recently just given a speech where he has stated that he's trying to introduce laws, new legislations in France, where any citizen who looks at any websites that the French government deems to be hate speech or terrorist organizations, anybody who visits those kind of sites will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And now this is obviously a huge attack on free speech and the freedom of the internet. And it also begs the question, though, if you are going to crack down on your own citizens who are visiting these troubling websites, don't you have to know what websites people are looking at in the first place? So this is going to bring on more monitoring of online activity of activists, and it's shutting down the freedom of the internet. I mean, to say that they're not going to be allowed to just look at websites and they'll be prosecuted to the full extent of the law if they do. We know that the way that they define dangerous terrorist networks is not how the mainstream media would have you believe. In fact, here in Canada, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service considers me, Dan Dix of Press for Truth, a enemy of the state, dangerous terrorist network. That's right. They consider myself to be a dangerous enemy of the state and somebody who is a threat to them. Meanwhile, all I'm doing is trying to expose the corruption that's going on all around the world. But the question is, is Press for Truth going to be one of these websites that the people of France are not going to be able to look at? So, it's frustrating because time and time again, when these often these lone crazy gunmen come up, they use it as the pretext to install all these draconian laws that completely strip away people's rights. So this is currently going on in France right now. I'll put a link in the description to this speech that Sarkozy just made. And again, you know, it's disgusting to see the acceleration these days that the current global elite are working so hard on bringing us closer towards their vision of this new world order agenda. Everything being under the singular umbrella of the world government. And, you know, it makes me want to step up my game. It makes me want to get better at doing my daily shows here at Press for Truth, and I want to try to expand in as many ways as I can. I want to make this show as good as it can possibly be, because we are up against evil people who who are going for it now. I mean, the plan is accelerating at an exponential rate, so we have to pick up our efforts as well. And the amount of things that you can do is endless. You know, when I started trying to expose these things, I didn't know what I was doing. I just dove in head first. And you can do the same. Anybody can set up a blog. You can set up a website. Most of these things are free these days. You can get a YouTube channel. You probably already have a camera in your pocket with your cell phone. So you can start shooting videos. You can start writing articles. You can start getting active in the streets, communicating with grassroots movements in your area. You can contact your local members of parliament for any issues you may have with bills that they're trying to introduce. The list of things that you can do is endless, but the important thing is that we continue to do our best to expose wickedness in high places. And so anyways, guys, on that note, I'll call it a show for today. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and I guess that's it for today. I will speak to you again on Monday. Okay, guys, take care. Talk to you soon.